Um, so he was kind of explaining that Lord gave him the vision, and I had no idea who Mike was like 3 years ago. I was a year or two out of high school. It was kind of during COVID time, and I had this idea of I wanted to play AVP, I wanted to play pro beach volleyball, but I had no idea what I was doing. I had been playing in some smaller tournaments and not doing so great. Mike explains it, or he always says, I was floating around. There's a bunch of pro beach, or guys that want to play pro beach volleyball that are just kind of floating around. They have no direction, especially with the sport of beach volleyball. It's so independent that like people really lack that structure, and I did too. And I was following the Lord for about 3 years at the time, and I just get a text kind of randomly, long text, and it's like, hey, I'm Mike. I played pro beach volleyball. I'm doing this discipleship training group. Show up at the Great Park. I showed up, and first day there's maybe like 6 guys, and Mike explained we're gonna be faithful every Monday, Wednesday. And that following week it was only 4 of us, and I mean, super simple. He just preaches the word, we pray, we train, and it's just incredible to see how just being faithful consistently has like produced so much fruit. So Mike at first would come to our tournaments. He'd actually I'd actually sign up with him to play in these tournaments at first, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna show you how this is done, how you can be like serious about the game in the Lord and also be a professional. So he'd show up to just smaller CBVA tournaments, and right away he's trying to talk to everybody he can, saying, hey, come on in, we're gonna have the word and prayer. And at first I'm like super awkward, like this is really weird. I can't believe this guy's just talking to these random people that obviously want nothing to do with him. But he was just bold in the faith, and people would come in, and we'd have guys come in for the word and prayer. And then pretty soon after that, he would kind of put me on the spot and be like, hey, Diego's gonna lead this time. And I'm just like right there, like, okay, I guess I'm leading the word and prayer, and I would just go for it. And those encouragements and those little kicks were like so helpful to get me where I'm at in the Lord now. Just being more bold about the faith. So that first year that I met Mike was actually the first year that I tried to play in the AVP and qualify. And my first tournament, I qualified and got 9th in Denver. And maybe a few weeks before that, I for some reason I had the idea of like, let's print some shirts that just have a big cross in the front and say Jesus rules in big bold letters on the back. So we printed out a bunch of them, and I mean, I've always been that guy that's like kind of out there with my ideas, and it seems like such a simple thing. Like you're just wearing a T-shirt, but it's crazy how many opportunities it's created, and how many even you see Christians that are claiming to be lovers of Jesus, and you could tell as soon as you hand them the shirt, they like shy away and get super timid of like, ooh, I don't know if I'm that committed, which is fine. It's like we all have to wrestle with that, but it's crazy how something so simple as wearing a T-shirt can do so much. But that's just a little aspect of what we do. It's kind of just the accountability. It's the statement of saying, here, this is what we're doing, and we better live up to it. So at every tournament, we call people in for the word and prayer, believers, non-believers. We even preach on the street sometimes. In Huntington, I was out there with the microphone, we're preaching on the street. And just intentionally having conversations with everyone we can to see where they're at with the Lord and preach the gospel to them. Recently, we just went to Nicaragua, got the call last minute, booked the flights, flew over there, and it was incredible to see how open the people were to the gospel. Like, so many people were incredibly impacted by what we're doing. So many Christians that didn't know that this was possible. They didn't know like you can honor the Lord in everything you do. So it was so super eye-opening to these people, just showing them like, no, this is possible. Like, you don't separate church from whatever it is you do. Like, they're one, they're the same. You are the church, you are the temple of the living God. So Nicaragua was super, super cool, just seeing the impact that the Lord has had on refs, tournament director, local people. And recently this year we've been just seeing the Lord do so much. And I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. Right now we're on the cusp of being main draw top 16 and qualifier. And so I think this is our year to really make that jump and make that push into main draw, like one of the main guys. So I mean, I have a vision for this. I think camera stuff, and it would be really cool to see, like, people around the world can see, like,